In the sleepy town of Willowbrook, where every neighbor knew each other's secrets, and time seemed to stand still, lived a peculiar old woman named Aunt Edna. Known for her eccentricities, she was both adored and feared by the townsfolk. Her sprawling mansion on the edge of town, filled with curious artifacts and mysterious locked rooms, was the stuff of legend. Children whispered tales of ghosts that roamed its halls, while adults speculated on the origins of her wealth. Aunt Edna had no children of her own, but she did have one favorite nephew, Timothy. A mild-mannered young man in his late 20s, Timothy had always been fond of his aunt, even when she rambled about ancient prophecies or her otherworldly adventures. Unlike others, he listened to her tales with genuine curiosity, never dismissing her as crazy. One cold autumn morning, Timothy received a letter, delivered by hand. The envelope was heavy and smelled faintly of lavender and old parchment. Inside, written in Aunt Edna's spidery handwriting, was a summons. Dearest Timothy, the sands of my time are slipping away. Come to Willowbrook. There are matters of grave importance to discuss. Your presence is not just desired, it is necessary. Yours, Aunt Edna. Without hesitation, Timothy packed his bags and set off for Willowbrook. He hadn't seen Aunt Edna in years, and the urgency of her letter unsettled him. When Timothy arrived at the mansion, he found Aunt Edna bedridden but as sharp-eyed as ever. Her room, filled with the scent of herbs and candle wax, was a treasure trove of oddities, crystals, ancient tomes, and maps of unfamiliar constellations. Timothy, my boy, she rasped, beckoning him closer. I don't have much time, but there's something I must pass on to you. It's a burden and a blessing. Do you accept it? Timothy, though confused, nodded. Of course, Aunt Edna. Whatever it is, I'll honor your wishes. A faint smile played on her lips. Good. The family secret must live on. With that, she handed him a small, ornate key. When I'm gone, use this to open the chest in the attic. Everything will become clear. Aunt Edna passed away the following evening, leaving Timothy heartbroken but determined to fulfill her final request. After the funeral, he made his way to the dusty attic, the key clutched tightly in his hand. The chest, tucked away in a corner, was unlike anything Timothy had ever seen, adorned with strange symbols that seemed to shimmer in the dim light. With trembling hands, he inserted the key and turned it. Inside, he found a collection of jaw-dropping items. The journal contained detailed accounts of Aunt Edna's life, revealing that she had been a guardian of a powerful, ancient artifact, a gemstone said to hold the knowledge of the universe. Nestled in a velvet pouch lay the artifact, a glowing, multifaceted gem that pulsed with an inner light. As Timothy touched it, a flood of knowledge and visions filled his mind. He saw distant galaxies, forgotten civilizations, and mysteries of existence that defied explanation. The map, drawn on aged parchment, marked locations across the globe where similar artifacts were hidden. Each one, the journal explained, was guarded by trials and challenges meant to test the worthiness of its seeker. The letter was addressed to Timothy. Dearest Timothy, the gemstone is both a gift and a responsibility. It chose me many years ago, and now it has chosen you. Guard it well, for there are those who would misuse its power. If you choose to accept this path, your life will never be the same. But remember, you are never alone. With love, Aunt Edna. From that day forward, Timothy's life transformed. The gemstone granted him abilities beyond imagination. He could decipher ancient texts, foresee events, and even influence the natural elements. But with great power came great responsibility. Determined to honor Aunt Edna's legacy, Timothy embarked on a journey to uncover the other artifacts, facing danger, deception, and wonder at every turn. Along the way, he discovered the true meaning of courage, loyalty, and destiny. Aunt Edna's gifts had been more than jaw-dropping, they were life-altering. And as Timothy stood beneath a starlit sky, the gemstone glowing in his hand, he knew his aunt had given him more than just a treasure. She had given him a purpose. As Timothy began to master the gemstone's powers, he realized just how perilous Aunt Edna's legacy truly was. The visions granted by the artifact were not just glimpses into the past or the cosmos, they were warnings. Shadows moved within the edges of his mind, fragmented whispers of a dark force that had been haunting the gemstone for centuries. The journal became his lifeline. Aunt Edna had meticulously documented her encounters with this shadowy group, referring to them only as the Seekers. They were relentless, driven by greed and a desire to harness the artifact's power for domination. Timothy knew it was only a matter of time before they discovered he now possessed it. One night, as Timothy studied the map in the flickering light of a fire, a soft knock came at the door. Startled, he pocketed the gemstone and approached cautiously. Standing on the threshold was a young woman, her eyes sharp and her stance wary. "My name is Eleanor," she said, holding up a tattered piece of parchment. It bore one of the symbols from the chest. "Your aunt helped my family once. She told me to find you when the time came." Eleanor explained that her ancestors had been part of an ancient order tasked with protecting the artifact from falling into the wrong hands. Over time, the order had fractured, with some members becoming the Seekers. "You're not safe here," she warned. "The Seekers know about the gemstone. They are coming for it, and for you." Reluctantly, Timothy packed his belongings, including the journal, the map, and the gemstone, and followed Eleanor into the night. Eleanor led Timothy to an abandoned monastery hidden deep within the woods. There, she revealed an inscription carved into the stone altar, a riddle that, when solved, would unlock the location of the next artifact. Timothy placed the gemstone on the altar, and the air around them shimmered. The riddle appeared. "To walk the path, you must lose sight. The truth is hidden within the light. A step of faith, a test of will. Find the courage, and time stands still." Interpreting the riddle, Timothy realized he needed to extinguish all light in the room and trust his instincts to guide him. With Eleanor's guidance, he closed his eyes and walked forward, relying on the faint hum of the gemstone. The floor beneath him shifted, and he found himself in a hidden chamber. Inside, he uncovered a second artifact, a silver pendant engraved with celestial symbols. When he held it, the gemstone flared, and he felt a surge of energy linking the two objects. Eleanor explained that each artifact amplified the other, granting its bearer immense power but also making them more visible to the Seekers. No sooner had they left the monastery than the Seekers made their presence known. A group of cloaked figures ambushed them on the forest trail, their weapons glowing with an eerie green light. Eleanor fought fiercely, revealing skills Timothy could only describe as superhuman. But it was the gemstone that saved them. When Timothy held it aloft, a brilliant light burst forth, scattering their attackers and leaving the forest eerily silent. Breathless, Eleanor turned to him. "They'll keep coming. We need to move faster." Over the next few weeks, Timothy and Eleanor followed the map, uncovering more artifacts and piecing together the truth of Aunt Edna's life. She had been part of the same order as Eleanor's family, a guardian who had sacrificed everything to keep the artifact safe. Each artifact they found unlocked more of the gemstone's potential and more of its secrets. Timothy began to understand the full scope of his responsibility. The artifacts weren't just treasures, they were keys to something far greater. The journal hinted at a final destination, a place where all the artifacts would converge to reveal the ultimate truth. But the closer they came to this goal, the more dangerous their journey became. The Seekers were relentless, and Timothy began to suspect there was a traitor among the allies they had made along the way. Their journey led them to a forgotten temple atop a snow-capped mountain. Inside, the walls were covered in glowing runes, each pulsating with the same light as the gemstone. At the temple's heart was a massive door, its surface inlaid with slots for the artifacts. Timothy and Eleanor carefully placed each one in its rightful position. The door groaned as it slid open, revealing a chamber bathed in golden light. In the center stood a pedestal, upon which rested the final artifact, a crown. Timothy hesitated, knowing this was the moment Aunt Edna had prepared him for. As he reached for the crown, the Seekers burst into the chamber, their leader, a man with eyes as dark as the void, stepping forward. "You've done well, boy," the leader sneered. "But the crown belongs to us." Timothy looked to Eleanor, who nodded. Summoning every ounce of courage, he placed the crown on his head. A surge of power coursed through Timothy, connecting him to the artifacts, the temple, and the very fabric of existence. Visions flooded his mind of Aunt Edna, her sacrifices, and the countless guardians who had come before him. With this newfound power, he unleashed a wave of energy that sent the seekers fleeing. The chamber sailed behind them, leaving Timothy and Eleanor alone in the golden light. The crown, the gemstone, and the artifact were now one, their power united in Timothy. He had become the guardian Aunt Edna had always known he could be. As they descended the mountain, Timothy felt a deep sense of peace. His life was no longer his own, but it had a purpose far greater than he could have ever imagined. Aunt Edna's legacy lived on, not just in the artifacts but in the strength she had seen in him all along.